happened in the Nichols game on punt team. He broke some part of his lower thumb and got some screws put in it. He's back. He's working out now. He's trying to figure out how comfortable he is catching the ball and how he's on special teams. So as we figure that out, we'll figure out whether or not he's going to play this week. He's cleared to play. It's just him dealing with the pain from the surgery and the thumb cast splint he's got. So we hope he's able to go.
Isaiah McKenzie, obviously we've talked a lot about him the past couple of days. He's a big part of this offense. I'm wondering how far back you might go with him, how much you knew about him. He kind of came in late at Georgia, and did you know much about him when you were at Alabama?
I didn't. We didn't recruit Isaiah. I never. First time I noticed him was when he was returning kicks here, and I was at Alabama. I've heard through friends of mine that told me that he was a late signee that Coach Rick stood on the table for. That a lot of guys on the staff didn't want to take him, and that he stood up and said, "We're taking the guy," and it's my call because I think he's a special player, and they did. I'm glad they did. Very thankful. I mean, he was a teammate of Sony's, obviously everybody knew that, but it wasn't like he had. He never came on a visit, from what I heard. He just decided to come when he got the offer.
And you mentioned this after the game, I think, but he's obviously touching the ball a lot, doing a lot, running a lot, all those other things. Is that a concern about him physically standing up?
I won't say it's a concern physically because he's kind of like a really tough guy. He likes that stuff. I just worry about his, the wear and tear. I mean, you can't. I mean, at 175 pounds, you can't take too many of those deals. So, but he practices the same way. He's so competitive in practice. He wants to return every punt. He returns the punts on the look squad. Then he returns the punts for our punt return team. Then he goes back on kickoff covers and returns kicks. And I mean, he catches every ball. He wants to get in every rep. We do 2 minutes sometimes, and he's in for the ones and the twos. It's like, I love guys that just want to play. He just wants to play. We had a guy at Alabama just like that, Javier Arenas. He wanted to play. He just wanted to play. And the game on Monday through Thursday was just as important as the game on Saturday, which is crazy. And Isaiah's that way. But yeah, I do. We watch the GPS because we try to see what his yardage is and his miles per hour. And when they decline, we shut him down, which he doesn't like.
What would you say has allowed him to take the big step forward this year? I mean, he put up numbers in the Missouri game that were comparable almost to his entire season stats from last year. How's he become such a better receiving threat?
Well, I mean, he's gotten better. He understands the offense. He's a year older. He's a year bigger and tougher. I mean, he's gotten open. I mean, and the offense has catered to him. I mean, there's been a lot of plays that were designed for him. So, but that doesn't always continue. When you become a feature, you ask Nick Chubb about that. It doesn't. People start keying on you. So, I mean, I'm very thankful the way he works. I'm glad that Jim and the offensive staff use him the way they do. And the biggest thing with him is his ball security, and we hit him on it every day. We really work hard on that, and he's got to continue to improve on that.
Kirby, are there any particular in-game adjustments you guys have made as a coaching staff you think that has helped contribute to 3-0 start?
Well, you'd like to think so, Mark, but I mean, there's other people make adjustments too. So it's like we make them, but sometimes you make them and they're not right. Sometimes you make them and they are. Maybe they move a chess move and we move a chess move. You like to try to create advantages for yourself. There's nothing in particular I can point to that was like the greatest thing ever. I mean, we just try to, if you can't run inside, try to run outside. If you can't throw across the middle, you try to throw outside. You just try to find a way to protect certain guys on defense. Where's the best receiver? Where are they hurting you the most? So we always try to do that. We try to do that at halftime. And I really challenge the coaches because it's something that I learned from my old boss of always trying to be ahead of the curve in that area. So what are you doing up in the box? Are you watching the game or are you trying to help the offense? So.
Considering Ole Miss's pass rush, how do you feel that Jacob has done in the pocket so far this year and been able to tell how much time he's got?
I think he's done a good job of maintaining his composure in the pocket. Sometimes the pocket breaks down, he's got to move. We really work hard on that. Coach Channing works with quarterbacks each day to move within the pocket. You try to use the pocket to your advantage because when you escape the pocket now, nobody can help you. But they are ferocious rushers. They disrupt the pocket. They really have some unbelievable rushers. And tough. I mean, you gotta do a good job of building a pocket so he can throw from it, and they challenge that in everything they do.
Coach, whenever you try to simulate what Chad Kelly's able to do, if you have anybody on your team at all you're even close to kind of put out there and kind of get an idea at least of how to deal with somebody like him?
You don't simulate that. I mean, I learned last year. It doesn't matter. I mean, they've got so many RPOs built in their offense. They're built to, they got 3 options every play, none of which is a triple option. Georgia Tech, it's run, bubble, throw. They can throw at any point in time, and the guy's got a great release. And then when all that breaks down, he'll take off running. So he's got 4 options, and he's really good at all 4, which is what makes him hard to defend. I really think in my time in the SEC, even the embarrassment that Johnny Manziel put me through and put us through at the University of Alabama throwing for the ball, this guy's like got it all, because he can make all the throws from the pocket. He can run the ball, he can throw the bubbles, and he's got moxie. He really does. He's got a moxie about him that he'll stand in there and take a shot, and he's not afraid. I mean, when he was at East Mississippi, he knew all the guys. Jaron Reed, he knew all the guys at East Mississippi, and he wasn't afraid to mix it up and compete with them. So he takes a shot from one of them, he'll get up and say, "That didn't hit me again." He's kind of competitor he is.
When it comes to the pass rush, you talked about Haynes yesterday. Have you noticed, I know 3-game sample size, but any huge improvements that he's made in terms of like hands, get off, anything like that?
He's always been good. I mean, the guy seems like he's been there forever. What year is he? Anybody know?
Senior?
He's a junior.
June? I wasn't sure. Seems like he's been there forever. I know he's been disrupted forever, so it's not like I've noticed. He's always been good to me. I mean, he's a good player.
Is John Ledbetter still suspended this week?
Mm-hmm.
Is there still a timetable of suspension for him?
He's suspended this week.
Coach, are you at all concerned with penalties so far this year, especially on special teams? That hit that Choate's made on Saturday, is that anything that concerns you?
It concerns me. It concerns me for his safety, and it concerns me for the young man's safety he hit. That concerns me. Kirby didn't mean to do that. It was not an intent. Kirby was trying to go in and make a play, and he feels terrible about it. So it's something we've got to do a good job of making sure it doesn't happen in practice. And we challenge them in practice to cover punts and go fast, because if you don't, they'll break down the guy and make a miss. We certainly don't want to ever do what he did. Just not smart, and he could have injured himself just as much as the next guy. So I was disappointed in Kirby. And what's sad is we've had 3 of those. 2 of them where the guys didn't see him signal fair catch. Then this one he didn't signal fair catch. So it's kind of a, I don't know, outlier. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had 3 of those in 3 games.
Just to try to give myself a headline, are you saying Chad Kelly better than Johnny Manziel?
I'm saying that Chad Kelly does it all. He does it all. And when I compare it to all the things he did, I mean, I still have nightmares of Johnny Manziel, trust me. And the guy, tortuous, and he had good tools around him, okay? And he was an unbelievable athlete. This guy is different. And I'm not saying he's better or worse. I mean, I'm making a comparison, but I don't want to make that comparison to slight Johnny Manziel. I'm only saying that they're both great quarterbacks. He's just different. He can stand in the pocket, and you feel like the guy's Dan Marino at times firing it through there. And the next thing you know, he's out there running around. The next thing you know, he's making a back shoulder throw and winging it, and he can take off running down the middle. He really does it all. I think they've tried to not run him as much by design runs, because they don't have to, because he can throw it so good. But yeah, I'm saying he's really talented.
Kirby, is it just 2 kickers involved? Is Mitchell Wasson still involved? I didn't see him out
Yeah,
there.
he's involved. He's out there.
Is he the guy that,
He's out there. He's out there. He's on the team. He's kicking every day.
Coach, I know last week you talked a little bit about how you felt the secondary was a little bit lucky, how you guys had gotten burned on some of the deep plays, and then against Missouri, gave up a couple of long plays. What do you guys do this week to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, we got to stop the run. I would love to say we're not going to give up any deep plays, but when you have 4 wide receivers out there, you have to cover them all. And we can't cover all of them with double coverage, so somebody's going to be one-on-one. So we either get really far off of them, like 8 or 9 yards, and say, don't give anything up over your head, or we get up there on them, and we get our hands on them, and we say, don't get anything over your head. Okay, but when you get really far off of them, they throw it short, and they catch it for like 7 and 8 yards. So you can either die like a real slow death with little paper cuts, or you can go after them and be aggressive. And that's the dilemma we face as coaches. Which one do we do? It's hard. So I can't tell you how we don't give up big plays. I know this, we gotta look at the right things. Okay, we gotta play the right technique, we gotta play the right coverage, and if they do that, they got a chance. But with this guy quarterback, it's gonna come down to a ball being in the air on a receiver and a DB, just like it did last week against Alabama, just like it did on Florida State, and you're gonna win some and lose some. And gosh, I hope we win them all. But it's not realistic. It's what you're gonna do after that that makes me feel more confident. 'Cause I've seen guys like Juwan Briscoe give up a 70, 80 yarder, and then he came back and made some good plays. So I'm hoping I see that.
Kirby, is it our decision to decide to play Solomon Kinley? You think you can get enough work out of him this year? In terms of, you've got what?
It was an easy decision to play Solomon Kinley. He's in our top 8-0 lineman.
Right.
We hope to play 8-0 lineman this year.
Yeah.
So certainly, I mean, why redshirt a guy if he's in your top 8?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you get an injury, don't you think we'll be glad we played him?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
It seems like in recent years, you probably know this better than most people, that Georgia's run up against Ole Miss a lot in recruiting. I'm sure at Alabama you guys were bumping into them everywhere. Obviously that's changed under Hugh Freeze. What is it that's gotten them in the mix in that regard?
They are good recruiters. They do a good job. I think his staff is competitive. They get after it. Is that a loaded question? Are you trying to trick me into something?
No, seriously not, no.
I mean, they do a great job. I mean, they won. To me, did they recruit well and then start winning, or did they win and then start, what came first? They've won. I mean, they beat Alabama 2 years in a row, and they were recruiting well even before that. I don't know what causes that. I think, I have been up against them on the road. Coach Freeze and his staff do a great job. They got a lot to sell over there. They got a lot of passion and energy. Their fan base is, very passionate about it. You think historically, Ole Miss has been a really good program, so they've done good with the recruiting aspect.
Have one more?
Coach, with a team like Ole Miss that sort of has a propensity to get out to large leads, if that is to happen, what are you sort of teaching your guys, being a younger team, how to overcome that adversity?
First of all, we don't teach them to get behind. We want to teach them this team's been ahead by 21 points on 2 really good teams. So our challenge is to start fast, start good. And we want to do that, and we're challenging them to do that. We don't coach from a fear factor or coach from a negative side of things to say, if this happens, then do this. We'll have to react to it. And this team's had to react to that before, so I certainly think they'll react the right way. But you don't let good teams get up on you because you can get in trouble when you do that. Thank you, guys.